8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Indrani Senanayake. The headlines. The 12th National War Heroes Day commemorated with high pride and honour. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says that arrangements are being made to allocate 75% of the jobs at the Colombo port city to Sri Lankans. Arrival terminals of Katunayake and Mattala international airports will be closed from the 21st Friday midnight to the 31st Monday midnight. Reginald Correa appointed chairman of the Rupavahini Corporation. COVID-19. Sri Lanka sees new highest daily count with 3,051 positive cases. Sri Lanka reports 1,222 more coronavirus recoveries. People who received AstraZeneca's first dose urged not to take Sinopharm jabs. News from overseas. India's holiest river, the Ganges, is swollen with COVID victims. And in sports news, all-rounder Andre Russell is back in the West Indies T20 squad for the first time since March 2020. The war heroes of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Police and the Civil Security Department who sacrificed their lives for the country's sovereignty, territorial integrity and independence were commemorated with floral tributes in the afternoon today on the 12th National War Heroes Day near the Battaramulla National War Heroes Monument. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, dignitaries and war veterans attended the ceremony. Relatives of all fallen heroes joined the commemorative event. This year's 12th National War Heroes Day commemoration ceremony, organized by the Rana Virusevana Authority adhering to strict health guidelines, began at 4:30 p.m. with the arrival of the President. 23,962 Army, 1,160 Navy, 443 Air Force, 2,598 police officers and 456 Civil Security Department personnel, a total of 28,619 war heroes, who made the supreme sacrifice in the fight against LTTE terrorism before May 2009 were respectfully remembered by all peace-loving ethnicity in Sri Lanka for their gallantry, invaluable and selfless dedication during this national ceremony. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says that arrangements are being made to allocate 75% of the jobs at the Colombo port city to Sri Lankans. Expressing his views in Parliament today, the Prime Minister said that regulations in this regard will be introduced soon. The Prime Minister said that the Commission will be allowed to a relaxed condition only when there are no Sri Lankans with special skills. He said the majority members of the Colombo Port City Economic Commission and the chairman should be Sri Lankans. Arrival terminals of Katunayake and Mattala international airports will be closed from the 21st Friday midnight to the 31st Monday midnight. However, the Civil Airline Services Authority said that services will be provided as planned for the airline passengers who are leaving the country. The authority further said that all services will be maintained for airlines that transport goods during this time. Former Governor Reginald Correa has been appointed as the chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. Mr. Correa was also the chairperson of the National Gem and Jewellery Authority in 2019. He served as the 5th Northern Province Governor from 2016 to 2018. He was briefly in the office of the Governor of the Central Province in 2018. Mr. Correa has also served as Member of Parliament representing the Kalutara district, Chief Minister of the Western Province, Minister of Mass Media, Deputy Minister of Justice, Minister of Minor Export Crop Promotion and Minister of Aviation. Sri Lanka reported its highest daily count of COVID-19 positive cases, with 3,051 patients identified so far within the day, that is today, the 19th of May. This brings the total number of COVID-19 cases confirmed in the country thus far to 150,771. Presently, 27,389 infected patients are being treated at hospitals and treatment centres across the island. Meanwhile, the number of total recoveries has reached 122,367. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Now, EPF information and services through an SMS from HDFC Bank.
We continue with local news. The Ministry of Health reports that 1,222 more patients who are being treated for COVID-19 have recovered and have been discharged from hospitals within the last 24 hours. This increases the total number of coronavirus recoveries in the country to 122,367. Sri Lanka so far reported 147,720 positive cases of COVID-19, while presently a total of 24,338 infected patients are being treated at hospitals and treatment centres. The death toll due to the virus has risen to 1,015. Health officials have cautioned people who received the first dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine to refrain from getting the Sinopharm jabs administered. Deputy Director General of the Health Ministry, Dr. S.M. Arnold made this remark addressing a media briefing held at the Health Promotion Bureau today. If you have received the first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine, do not take the Sinopharm vaccine. The Health Ministry does not recommend it, he stated. It is imperative to get vaccinated against COVID-19, even if you are infected, Dr. Arnold noted. Vaccination alone does not prevent the spread of the novel coronavirus, he pointed out, stressing the need to adhere to health guidelines. Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage says sufficient fertilizer stocks are available for the upcoming Maha season. The government takes the responsibility to provide the necessary fertilizers to the farmers of this country. These fertilizer stocks are being distributed through fertilizer distribution centres located island-wide. The minister made these remarks while addressing a media conference held in Colombo today. Addressing the media personnel, the minister further said 38 traders were arrested yesterday by the Consumer Affairs Authority for selling the fertilizer at a higher price. The Department of Registration of Motor Vehicles, RMV, released a special media release in connection of suspension of services of the Narahenpita RMV unit on the 24th and 25th of this month, as these days are declared as government holidays. However, the time allocated on these 2 days would be revised by dialing 0112 67 78 77. 0112 67 78 77. Accordingly, an alternative time slot could be allocated. The possible option is that the time slot allocations on the 24th of May could be transferred to the 31st of May. Next, we take a look at the main news story.
දැන් HDFC බැංකුවෙන් EPF ණයතොරතුරු හා සේවාවන් SMS එකකින්
රාජ්‍ය හා පෞද්ගලිකංශයේ රැකියාවේ නියුතු ඔබ කොහේ සිටියත් EPF ණයතොරතුරු හා සේවාවන් ලබා ගැනීම සඳහා කළ යුත්තේ EPF හිස්තැනක් නම හා ප්‍රදේශය සඳහන් කර 071 800 999ට SMS එකක් එවීම පමණයි.
HDFC බැංකුව ඔබ අප සුරකින්න බැංකුව.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
A committee comprising specialist doctors is appointed by the Health Minister Pavitra Vanyarachi to look into other treatment options and medicine varieties available in the world to address the COVID-19 challenge. The committee includes veteran specialist doctors including Dr. Ananda Vijayvikrama, Asita Tisera and Prasanna Gunasena. The committee will submit a report based on the observations and information collected from other leading hospitals in the world. That was the main news story. Watchlight is up next.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
A look at Watchlight. The residents of many city limits complain about the non-collection of garbage on time. As a result, the garbage gets piled up and sometimes is seen scattered all over the place. This has caused immense difficulties to the local residents and motorists. This is for the attention of the municipal councils and the urban councils authorities. That came to you in Watchlight. A bulletin of world news will follow. Now we take a look at the headlines. India's holiest river, the Ganges, is swollen with COVID victims. Somerton man, body exhumed in bid to solve Australian mystery. China on Mars. Zhurong rover returns first pictures. India's holiest river, the Ganges, has been swollen with bodies in recent days. Hundreds of corpses have been found floating in the river or buried in the sand of its banks. Those who live close to where they have been washed up in the northern state of Uttar Pradesh fear they are COVID-19 victims. India has been overwhelmed by a devastating second wave of the pandemic in recent weeks. It has recorded more than 25 million cases and 275,000 deaths. By experts say the real death toll is several times higher. The body of a man found on a South Australian beach more than 70 years ago has been exhumed in the hope of solving one of the country's most intriguing mysteries. The identity and cause of death of the so-called Somerton man remain unknown. Over the years, many theories have swirled as to its identity, from Cold War spy to rejected lover. Now Australian police say advances in DNA technology make exhumation worthwhile. China's National Space Administration, CNSA, posted the pictures on its website. There are 7 and a couple of short videos that record the moment the rover's aeroshell, the capsule it used to enter the Martian atmosphere, departs the Tianwen-1 orbiter, the satellite that carried the rover from Earth. The surface imagery tells us that critical hardware deployments after landing were completely and clearly seen. To end this bulletin of world news, the headlines again. India's holiest river, the Ganges, is swollen with COVID victims. Somerton man, body exhumed in bid to solve Australian mystery. China on Mars. Zhurong rover returns first pictures. That ends this bulletin of world news. Development news follows. The fruit cultivation program is being promoted in the Mathura district. A cultivation project has already commenced under business and homegrown level. The cultivation includes plantains, pineapples and pepper. That was development news. Up next is sports news.
Sports news is brought to you by When Aya bought a motorbike, he bought 2 helmets. So sweet of him. I'm sure the other one is for me.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
On to sports news. All-rounder Andre Russell is back in the West Indies T20 international squad for the first time since March 2020. The West Indies 18-member squad for the upcoming set of T20 international series against South Africa, Australia and Pakistan also includes a returning duo of Shimron Hetmyer and Sheldon Cotterell, with Kieran Pollard continuing to lead the side following on from the 2-1 home win against Sri Lanka in the format in March. Pranaran Subryan among 6 uncapped players in South African squad for the West Indies tests. Sunil Narayan, meanwhile, continues to miss out with cricket. West Indies revealing the spinner informed lead selector Roger Harper he wasn't yet ready to return to international cricket. If his position changes, then the selectors would consider him for the selection, a CWI spokesperson said. That was sports news. On to business news next.
My wife always sets a full lunch table, even if it's just the 2 of us. She always expects people to drop by, like maybe the army.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
Contributory deposit of ₹1,000 from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Showcasing its dominant market leadership and brand equity, the Singer Group announced a post-tax profit of 2.61 billion rupees for the financial year 2020-2021 from 427.27 million rupees achieved in the previous year. The group also reported a profit before tax of 3.82 billion rupees, a 6-fold increase compared to 2020-2021. Singer's group's revenue increased by 23% to 67.41 billion rupees, reflecting a strong growth across key product categories across all channels. Top-line growth coupled with continuous focus on driving operational excellence, digitalization and efficient working capital management resulted in the group's operating profit increasing by 31% to 5.38 billion rupees during the year. That was business news. And next is economic news.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of ₹1,000 from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news. Courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will inaugurate the Sri Lanka Investment Forum, SLIF 2021, billed to be the region's first and largest virtual investor forum and will be held from the 7th to the 9th of June. The 3-day virtual event, jointly organized by the Board of Investment, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce and the Colombo Stock Exchange, will showcase Sri Lanka's FDI and capital market opportunities to investors from across the globe, spanning a wide spectrum of industry, sectors and corporate equities. They will be showcased by the President in inviting global investors to participate in Sri Lanka's growth decade. That was economic news, and finally we take a look at the weather reports.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
Finally, we take a look at the weather report. The Met Department says the showery condition over the southwestern part, the western, Sabaragama, central and southern provinces of the island, and the windy condition over the northern and northwestern provinces are likely to enhance during the next few days. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragama, central and northwestern provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Fairly heavy falls, about 50 millimeters, can be expected at some places in the western and Sabaragama provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in the eastern and Uva provinces during the evening or at night. Wind speed can increase up to 40 to 50 kilometers per hour at times. On the western slopes of the Central Hills, the northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in the Hambantota district. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. That was the weather report. And finally, we take a look at the headlines to end tonight's news broadcast.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And finally, we take a look at the headlines again. The 12th National War Heroes Day commemorated with high pride and honour. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says that arrangements are being made to allocate 75% of the jobs at the Colombo port city to Sri Lankans. Arrival terminals of Katunayaka and Mattala international airports will be closed from the 21st Friday midnight to the 31st Monday midnight. Reginald Correa appointed chairman of the Rupavahini Corporation. COVID-19, Sri Lanka sees new highest daily count with 3,051 positive cases. Sri Lanka reports 1,222 more coronavirus recoveries. People who received AstraZeneca's first dose urged not to take Sinopharm jabs. News from overseas. India's holiest river Ganges is swollen with COVID victims. And in sports news, all-rounder Andre Russell is back in the West Indies T20 squad for the first time since March 2020. That ends tonight's news broadcast.